Hello, welcome back to Deconstructing with Dawn. This video is done at the request of Hollywood Angel and Amani Rose, two of my subscribers that have requested that I do a video regarding lupus, one of my 5 autoimmune diseases, in the event that they might be concerned themselves that they have it. Most importantly, what I have to say here is that, you can Google yourself as well, signs and symptoms, but most importantly, if you feel that you have anything wrong with you, you need to see your doctor. If you're feeling fatigued or have aches and pains everywhere, you could simply just have a flu. You could have something wrong with your electrolytes. You could be low in your or high in your white blood cell count, whatever the case may be. It's really important to have an up-to-date CBC, electrolyte panel, and an ANA panel. Amongst other, blood work. So none of this is for you to take to Bible. You make sure you contact your doctor if you're feeling anything wrong. As I've said, I have 5 different autoimmune diseases. This is kind of like what I deal with. This is about a 5-year period of those 5 autoimmune diseases amongst other medical problems. I have literally medical problems from the tip top of my head to the bottom of my foot. Independent of having these 5 autoimmune diseases. Like this stuff here is just from that surgery and about 3 months of visual stuff that I've been having to go through because I'm losing my vision, as I've said 100 times. So I go to the doctor 1 to 2 times a week. Out of all of this, I don't let it control me. I live my life daily. I get up every day. I put my face on every day, otherwise I look awful. I get dressed every day. I do something every day. Every single day I have an activity that I do. And I have a life to live. I have my German Shepherds to take care of, my cat to take care of. I have my husband to take care of. My 3 children are all grown and on their own. But someday I'm going to have grandkids, and I'm not going to let any of this stop me from being there for everybody. I feel like crap every single day, but I don't let it stop me. I keep moving forward, and I keep moving, most importantly, because if you shrivel up into a ball and let any of this take over your life, you will die. And I'm 46 years old. My mom died at 48. My aunt died at 48. My other aunt died at 51. And my grandma died at 68. And I am not going to let that happen to me. I'm way worse than any of them were, but I'm not going to let any of this take over my life. If I really only have 2 years left to live, I'm going to live those 2 years as best as I possibly can. So with all that said, women are women are twice as more likely to get an autoimmune disease than a man. There are 80 different types of autoimmune diseases. However, 14 are most common, such as diabetes, MS, scleroderma, RA, all that, lupus. Those are all the most common 14 out of the 80. I have 5. Number 1, I have lupus. I have the SLE version of lupus, which is systemic lupus erythemus. There are other versions of lupus, but they're not as common as SLE. I'm not terribly familiar with those, but chances are if you were to get lupus, you'd probably get SLE, although I'm the rare bird anyway, and I get the rare stuff of other problems, but SLE lupus is most common. I have hypercoagulation state, which both of these diseases were diagnosed in 2001 at the same time. Hypercoagulation state means that my blood is very thick and clots extremely fast. I ended up having a stroke, a TIA, which is a mini stroke, and they thought that it was because I had a hole in my heart, which they found at almost 30 years old. I had a hole in my heart. I'm on the table, cracked open, and the surgeon sees that my blood is too thick and notices there's some damage to my valve that is typical damage caused by lupus. So while I'm in the operating room, he does a blood panel, and he finds out that I have hypercoagulation state and lupus at the same time in 2001 while I'm having open heart surgery. He did not replace the valve because I did not sign and authorize for that. All I thought was I had a hole in my heart that caused a stroke, and so he couldn't replace the valve. So eventually I will have to have that valve replaced as my damages get worse from lupus. But at this particular point, it's been 16 years and I'm still okay. I have Graves' disease, which is an autoimmune disease that attacks your thyroid, causing you to have hyperthyroidism. So I look like I'm somebody that would have hypothyroidism. Typically, hypothyroidism is somebody that is chunky, pale, clammy skin, cold all the time, that kind of thing. I look like that, but I'm not. I'm hyper. I went through radiation. It did not kill my thyroid, so I have to take medication, and my thyroid is still alive, and they are constantly battling each other. I am what they call a unicorn in that I am a fat hyperthyroidism person, hyperthyroid. And there's nothing I can do about it. I eat about 1,000 calories a day. I am mostly vegetarian. Once a week I eat meat, and I cannot lose the weight. My metabolism, you think, would be sped up from having the hyperthyroidism. It is not. The drugs are just beating each other up with the thyroid, and I am not ever going to change. So I also have Crohn's disease, and I've had that for 20 years. At some point, I was in remission, and they called it ulcerative colitis for a little while. I went through a drug treatment for about a year of a sulfa drug, and that's what put me into into remission, but I came out of it probably about 15 years ago, I think. And so it affects you from your mouth to your butt. From top to bottom, you are affected by Crohn's disease. It alone causes very similar aches and pains that you would get from many other autoimmune diseases, as far as the inflammation of the joints and that kind of thing. And then I have diabetes, but I don't have the diabetes like my grandma called it, sugar diabetes. I have the diabetes that makes you insulin resistant, which I know there's an insulin problem in normal diabetes, but I am resistant to insulin, meaning if I need to have insulin, my body is not going to accept it. My aunt had this particular type of diabetes, and it's semi-odd, but yeah, so that's what I have. So, the symptoms of lupus, you can get this from lupusresearch.org, one of the many sites that you can get support for lupus and signs and symptoms and that kind of thing. But most commonly is extreme fatigue. But like I said, you could be getting the flu, you could be just be low on red blood cells. There's all kinds of reasons why people could be having extreme fatigue, low in B vitamin, low in D vitamin. So that is not an end all to be all of having an autoimmune disease. It is one of the worst symptoms and one of the worst side effects, because you just feel like you're walking through pudding all day, but that is not the end all to be all for diagnosis. One of the most common, however, ways, and again, not definitive way of diagnosis, is the malar rash. It is that butterfly rash that I talk about. It looks like you're Rudolph and a raccoon at the same time that just went skiing, in the Swiss Alps without any protection on. You get that wind rash, and that's what it looks like. That is what I have. That is one of the most common telltale signs of having lupus. There is, however, another type of rash, just a regular red bumpy rash. I've never had that one, but that is also another sign of having lupus. You get the joint swelling. I have nothing wrong with my left shoulder whatsoever. However, I don't know, like a month ago, or more than a month ago now, I thought I dislocated my shoulder. It hurt so bad, and I have an incredibly high tolerance to pain. After about a day and a half, I thought I was dying, and I thought I needed to be put back together. I go to the urgent care, they take an x-ray. There is 100% nothing wrong with my shoulder. I was just inflamed, and the savior of all drugs for me is anti-inflammatories, Motrin, naproxen, ibuprofen. Those are the only things that I could take for pain medicine anyway, and they bring down the swelling, and a couple days later it was gone. So yeah, joint swelling, and then unexplained fevers. What if you're of a woman of a certain age and you're going through menopause? You don't know if you're having menopausal hot flashes or if you have an unexplained fever. Like, I just had that infection, and I didn't know if I was having a hot flash, a fever, or a, lupus thing. So those are just so ambiguous, when it comes to diagnosis. There used to be, there's 11 criteria to be diagnosed with lupus. You had to have matched 7 of them. Now they've lowered it to 4. So, in my opinion, some of these almost everybody has. So I still think 7 is a better criteria, but they do say it's 4. Out of the 11, there's the malar rash. Number 1, the malar rash. Number 2, that weird skin rash, which is kind of like measles. It kind of looks like measles. Number 3, photosensitivity. That's sensitivity to sunlight. I get so bad, and I live in the high desert, so I'm always in the sun. If you're in the car, you're in the sun. You know, you could be sitting on your couch and the sun's beating down on you. We can't avoid the sun here in sunny California. However, I get like these blisters. Like I get blisters so bad from having the sun reaction. Mouth and nose ulcers. They kind of feel like if you've eaten Captain Crunch and the roof of your mouth gets all tore up, it's kind of like that. But they're like a flat sore that goes all around your mouth, on your tongue, on the sides of your mouth, the roof of your mouth. I even get it in my ears. Some people get them in their nose. It's like these ulcers you can't explain. It's like canker sores all around your nose and mouth and ears in my case. In fact, I'm allergic to Benadryl. I thought I was having an allergic reaction to something, so I ended up taking Benadryl, and then I got hives from the Benadryl. That was the worst Easter of my life. It was Easter Sunday. I thought it was so bad. But anyway, it was just a reaction to lupus. I just had mouth sores from it. Again, non-erosive arthritis, just these aches and pains and swollen joints that aren't because, you need a knee replacement. It's just because your body is reacting to something and trying to kill itself. Cardiac involvement, where you have inflammation of your heart and lungs. 7 is neurological disorders such as seizures, strokes, that kind of thing. Now again, I had a stroke, but it was caused by something different. So they kind of mimic each other. So do you say it's lupus, or do you say it's because of the hypercoagulation state? They kind of mimic, a lot of the stuff mimics each other. Kidney problem. Having increased protein in your urine or clumps of red blood cells. Your kidneys just don't work properly when you have lupus. My right kidney is the one that's being attacked. However, there's a spot now on my left kidney. That spot could just be, nothing, or it could be the development of something that's going to be coming along soon that will be a problem. Anyhow, blood disorders, anemia, low white blood cell count, low platelets, low red blood cell count. Again, that's why it's so important to have your blood tested. You could just be anemic in general, and that's why you're feeling fatigued and not have lupus at all. So really important to have your blood checked. Immune disorders. Having other immune disorders makes you predisposed to having other immune disorders. And again, it's because they mimic each other. But with lupus, they specifically target certain areas like organs. Fibromyalgia is an autoimmune disease. It won't kill you, but it'll make you feel like you want to die. They have diagnosed me with that, but I don't include it as being part of my 5 autoimmune diseases because I have lupus, which kind of like trumps the fibromyalgia. They're exactly the same, except for lupus attacks organs and will kill you. The most important thing is this ANA test, which is an anti-nuclear antibody test. It is the antibodies that are created from the ANA. If it comes out positive, you have lupus. Typically, you have that, it's positive, you have lupus, end of story. Sometimes they'll retest you and you'll get a false positive or a false negative. In the very beginning, I had positives, and then as I started to feel better and get control over things, I had a negative. And they're like, oh, okay, well maybe she doesn't have lupus after all. I started to feel bad again, and my positives came back. So typically you get it one and done and you're tested. However, if you keep pressing the matter, and maybe you had a false negative and you really are positive, you need to keep pressing the matter with your doctor. The damages that can be caused by lupus are in your heart. You get inflammation, you get myocarditis, endocarditis, and pericarditis. Basically, itis, I believe, means inflammation. If there's an itis to be had in your body, it will be from lupus. You get chest pain, you get damage to the heart valve, which I talked about, which I do have. And then you get a heart murmur. Now, I've had a heart murmur since I was 9. I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. I don't know if I had lupus at 9, and that's why I have a heart murmur. I don't know. Kidney, you get nephritis. Again, inflammation of the kidney, which causes to where you can't properly dispose of your waste. And therefore, you get all swollen and puffy. You get like anemia, not anemia. What is that? I can't remember. Well, you get like fluid retention. Like my little fingers look like sausages. See that? Well, I know when I'm having a real bad time is my face gets really puffy and swollen. My ankles get puffy. And like right now I'm really puffy, and I know my kidneys are having a hard time. I just had the blood test done on Friday, and I could see that my kidneys are having a bit of trouble right now. Diabetes. You're highly susceptible to being insulin resistant. That's what I have. So again, which came first? Do I have diabetes because of lupus, or lupus because of diabetes, or are they completely independent? I don't know, but I'm more predisposed to being insulin resistant because of lupus. However, you can still have just regular diabetes, which is the inability to control your blood sugar. You also get an increased case of having neuropathy. I have peripheral neuropathy pre-diabetes, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, I was diagnosed with peripheral neuropathy. I did not have diabetes. I ended up having to have all nerves severed. My carpal tunnel nerves and my tarsal tunnel nerves to my feet severed, foot severed, not my left one, because the sensitivity, the pain was out of this world. A sheet would touch my foot and I would cry in pain in the middle of the night. That's how bad the neuropathy was. And then the lungs, you can get pleuritis, which is inflammation of the chest wall. Again, deep chest wall pain. I have asthma. I don't know if I've ever had the deep chest wall pain like they say, because I can't ever tell if it's because I have asthma and I'm having trouble breathing, or if my chest is hurting. I don't know. So, but that's one of the problems. The spinal problem, you have transverse myelitis, which is inflammation of the spinal cord, which is pressure causing tingling, stinging, and numbness of your limbs. Again, like a neuropathy situation. However, you can lose eventual bladder control because you can't feel the pressure so bad on your spine. You can't feel if you need to void yourself. Blood vessels, they inflame all the vessels, which can lead to arteriosclerosis, which is hardening of the arteries. I have excellent cholesterol levels. I have very high good cholesterol. I've never had cholesterol problems. However, I have arteriosclerosis already, even though I'm a vegetarian all but one day a week. I eat like 1,000 calories. I take very good care of myself diet-wise, but I already have hardening of the arteries, and it's not because of diet. However, you can also get arteriosclerosis from genetics. So, you also need to take that into consideration. Neurologically, it can attack your central nervous system, i.e. causing vision problems, headaches, seizures, memory problems, strokes, etc. Now, I have memory problems, which is, my brain is deteriorating, plus I have that cerebral tension in my brain, and I have memory loss, and I'm obviously losing my vision. But they all say that those all are not connected to lupus in my situation. I don't know if I really believe them, but whatever. I have to take whatever they say and go with the program, right? Anyway, so this is my life. I don't want it to be yours. I hope that you do not have lupus. I hope that you don't have any of these autoimmune problems. However, it is extremely common. If you end up having something, don't let it rule your life. Let life rule you. Be active, be happy, live every day to its fullest. Don't. I go to the doctors 1 to twice a week. I am sick of it, but I still live my life every single day. So don't let anything control your happiness, okay? Most importantly, talk to your doctor. I have gone through as many 3-4 doctors until I get what I am looking for, an answer. And it is your body and you have the right to those answers. So never give up on yourself and don't let anything control you. You are in control of your life. Thank you, ladies, for your suggestion, and I hope this might help somebody out there. This is the best of my knowledge. This is what I can tell you. It's not factual for everybody. Do your own research and most importantly, talk with your own doctor. Thank you, and everyone, take care.